matchup still for Alpha against Alpha and as well as HKA.
Well, on to we go for draft. It is going to be Nova on your blue side, Resurgence on the red. And questions become, we are also on patch 10.15. Will we see the Lilia join us onto the Rift, or has the teams decided, we don't really want to try the new Deer champion, maybe we're not in the mood, starting things off with the go-to bans of the Twisted Fate as well as the Nidalee?
I mean, it's still possible. RSG definitely has got nothing to lose. But looking at the bans right now, Volibear being taken out, as Epic and Shinsekai both have played this champion before. RSG still a lot of respect against towards Ryan's pool, so I'm not going to be surprised if Graves is even banned out as well.
Let's see here now. Are we going to see a little bit more toward the jungle pool, or are we going to try and lock down Ryan? Because Ryan for Nova Esports is usually the main go-to catalyst when it comes to the team's success. And again, chipping away toward his aggressive jungle pool, also getting rid of that Graves now.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what Ryan will fall back to, because usually he would fall back to the Lee Sin, maybe even a little bit on the Olaf, which hasn't been popular anymore when it comes to the latter stages of the split. But now for RSG, for Nova rather, what will they decide to take, as Raven has been targeted banned for quite some time. Never mind, Fiddlesticks.
We also see the Fiddlesticks. That might be also like a scrim ban. Maybe they played a scrim up against Resurgence at some point. They said, oh yeah, Raven and Epic have like some disgusting fiddle. Who bloody knows? But meanwhile, it's also going to be that Thresh being banned away from Pop, and does leave open for Nova if they want to. That set pickup, which has been banned pretty much non-stop back in the last patch in the previous 2 weeks of play, but is open here.
Yeah, usually you'd see the set ban, you'd usually see the karma ban, but no, set actually goes through. It has been very important, can be flexed in 4 different roles, and G4 has been playing this phenomenally, pairing it up with Ryan in the jungle.
So some flex options still available. But for Resurgence, do we get to see Quake on something that isn't just a Misfortune or a Ziggs with a bunch of wave clear? We instead are going to see him on an Ashe, which provides some utility as well as some DPS into the late game.
Yeah, RSG already securing at least one of the strongest AD carries, at least for the current patch, which is the Ashe. So now we might see the typical, Ezreal and as well as the Ashe, maybe even possibly still the Aphelios if players still decide to pick him up.
And there you go. Nautilus also going to be locked in. This is going to be for Boxer. Enjoys his rather aggressive supports. Usually we see him on the Leona when it's available, but Nautilus is going to be the lock-in here for the bot lane of Resurgence.
Yeah, RSG very, very strong single target pick potential with, the Nautilus and as well as the Ashe. But now we're going to see the Lovers duo on the bottom side of the map.
Are we just getting the Vastaya comp? Is that what Nova's bringing out here at this point? You already got the set coming out. You got the Rakan. Now you got the Xayah. Again, that's a bot lane we have not seen at all when it comes to summer, and only slightly in niche matchups back in spring.
Yeah, I believe the pair itself has only been picked once. So this is actually very refreshing to see, as that's going to be a lock-in either towards Shinsekai or maybe even Raven in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's the thing. That Lucian pickup for Resurgence has always been a flex pickup for themselves. Sometimes we see it up in top lane. We sometimes have seen it for Raven in the mid lane back in spring. All right, getting ourselves a little bit of a spicier draft coming out from both those squads as we head into the next ban phase and getting rid of the LeBlanc away from G4.
Yeah, both teams definitely have a lot of flex going on, as RSG is going to be removing one of the heavier matchups in the mid lane, as to not put Raven behind if Lucian is indeed picking up this Lucian. And now Echo as well being removed, so I wonder if G4 will pick the Syndra in this draft in particular.
See what the plan is going to be. Like you mentioned, though, Echo being removed, that one's getting taken away from both Epic and Raven. Could have been flexed into either the jungle or the mid lane, as we still do not have a concrete answer on what they want to bring out. But with the fact that the Zoe's being banned out, this kind of screams that the Lucian will be going mid for Raven, I would assume, unless they are just trying to get rid of some of the more comfort picks for G4.
Yeah, G4 can still definitely fall back into the Orianna, and if we add that into the equation with a set, with the Rakan, it's definitely going to be wombo combo heaven for themselves, and I'd be very scared if, Raven does indeed pick this Lucian for himself, and as well as Quake on this Ashe. But Karthus is being bagged, actually, away from Epic.
All right, so just don't want to see the undead come out into the jungle. Of course, the patches that came about in 10.14, able to add a little bit more power into that Karthus overall. But for Epic, it was his debut champ back in spring, has been one of his go-tos. When it's available, it's going to be that Lee Sin getting locked in.
And now we can see the RSG jungle. RSG removed pretty much Ryan's top picks in the tournament for summer at least. So I wonder what Ryan falls back to, as again, Set can still be flexed in the jungle. Trundle is still open. We also can see that Ryan also likes to fall back on, Volibear, which is not around anymore. So I wonder if there's going to be a bit of a switch up.
All right, so we do see the Syndra getting locked in, likely now for G4 in the mid lane. You did mention that was still up and available for him. We'll see whether or not he's going to be able to burst down the Lucian, or if Resurgence are going to try and rotate that top lane and then allow Raven for a better counter pick. And are we just going to see Rocky in the top lane going back to his Kalista, which he was able to shred apart Liab, and try and do maybe the same here with his Resurgence?
Yeah, it makes me wonder, because that's how confident Rocky is. He's going to be locking that Kalista. Shinsekai has been picking up, 10, 11 unique different champions throughout whole summer. So it means either Shinsekai will possibly take on this challenge for the 1v1, or maybe fall back to the utility just for the team and possibly get bullied by Rocky, which is what we could possibly see with that hover.
That's going to be a very heavy bully lane coming out here from Rocky in top lane, unless they're doing something funky and they're going to put the Maokai mid and roll swap to the top lane. For Nova, this very much looks like a composition that they're looking to have some fun with overall. This isn't something they usually bring out against some of the stronger teams. They want to try and experiment, and maybe, hey, they'll try and get some more bans heading into playoffs off some of these picks if they are able to find a good performance.
And it's scary too, because we've seen how much, when Rocky picks up the Kalista, it's just definitely going to be all out on Shinsekai. And, for Epic, we'll have to see whether or not he will be able to relieve pressure, as there are definitely other lanes such as Raven on the Lucian will need helping against that Syndra with G4.
Again, this is, of course, our Battle of Southeast Asia. As always, Thailand versus Singapore has always been a go-to matchup back when there was the LST as well as the GPL, even back during a little bit of the other outside events that we used to saw over the course of the last 2 seasons. And now here, for Resurgence, they are trying to break a 12-game loss streak. And if they're able to find it over Nova, Nova would be a little bit shaken up and might even drop them down into a tie with Brajaya Dragons if they are not careful. Nova, though, looking to try and get themselves back into that 5-6 spot in the standings and try and get themselves into the upper bracket as we load on into the Rift for our first game of Week 7.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Brajaya?
Yeah.
I think production is also kind of wondering, is that the right thumbs up? Yeah. Do not worry. It is very much Nova versus Resurgence. That was a little bit of a boo-boo. It's okay though. Must have been left over from last week. Those logos, they're both blue. They can get a little bit. They're both like mythical creatures, dragon, phoenix. Yeah, I could see it getting mixed up. Trust me, it's not as much as it feels bad as my lunch situation is here at the studio, which
oh no.
Apparently my lunch got delivered to my house instead of the studio. So now I get to go foodless for a broadcast, but it's fine. I'll survive off water.
Oh well.
Back on the, again, the stakes here in this matchup. For Resurgence, nothing can really be gained nor lost when it comes to a victory or loss here. They already are out of contention for playoffs. And if anything, if you're any of these players, there's obviously been some morale hits. So hopefully you can maybe end off the season with a victory or two, get some revenge, And then, look forward to the future that the team is going to be looking forward to, whether that is next year or if the players leave to a different roster, a possible different organization.
Yeah, that is definitely still a possibility. And, Resurgence has been definitely having a hard time when it comes to going up against, the Thai squads in general. If we look at, just as you mentioned, back at GPL, maybe even back at C Tour as well, when they faced off against Mega. But yeah, RSG, this is a completely, they're focusing definitely on those bully lanes, at least when it comes to Raven against G4. And for Shinsekai, it is sort of bully-ish if you add Epic into the equation. That's going to be an easy route towards Rocky. You hold the Kalista down, and hopefully Epic is able to follow up. But at the end of the day, if it's just a 1v1, it's going to be very difficult for Shinsekai.
Yeah, Shinsekai right now is like, Kalista's pushing up my lane. Can we try and gank her before she gets 2 items ahead of me? Because that's going to be the most likely situation when it comes to Rocky. Every time we have seen him on something like a Kalista, it's always been a bit devastating in most matchups. Kind of emulates the Shy pickup when it first got seen back in the LPL last year. We'll see whether or not he is able to get the ball rolling, or if Epic is going to try and make appearances up toward that top lane like you mentioned.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because if this keeps happening, once level 6 reaches for Nova, they will definitely be more comfy in diving Shinsekai. If you add in Ryan's ult with the set, and as well as Rocky, just going to pull Ryan back out of the tower towards safety.
And then you also have down this bot lane. This is Pop. It's actually one of his first times we're seeing him on the Rakan, as he will act as that main engage when it comes out of Nova's squad later on during the game. And then we'll have to see if Rocky bounded to Ryan. I think he ended up doing so. So there'll be a lot of just, knock-ups, taunts all coming out here, as you do see Resurgence maybe fishing for a play, but Nova happily just backing off here and say, you know what, we don't want to give on any kills overall early and just play it back safe.
Yeah, they can definitely just try to play it safe, wait for Ryan's visit, as RSG will be trying to push and get priority over this lane to get more control over that dragon, especially early game objectives has been usually RSG's little bit of weaknesses when it comes to, at least in the recent games so far.
I see poor Shinsekai also having to worry that Ryan is on toward the top side of the map. Did have a ward down though in the Dry Brush, so he'll keep himself safe, but already this gap in top lane starting to grow. No real answer here just yet from Epic, as he's actually gone for a little bit of an invade toward the bot side of the map. And all right, I guess the plan is wait until 6 and then maybe Shinsekai can do it. Yeah, he's saying this is fine. That's really all he can do at this point.
Yeah, this draft for RSG, they're definitely waiting for the mid phase of the game, or maybe possibly the first or second Rift Herald, for them to contest and get gold from, getting the top side objectives at least. But if Rocky gets ahead, we know what's going to happen, as we've seen this too many times before.
Things coming out here. First dragon of the game also is going to be Infernal, so we'll see whether or not we have a little bit of action, but a bunch of ward coverage coming out from Resurgence, looking to really try and maybe set up Quake and Boxer to have a very safe lane phase.
Yeah, so far from RSG at least, no pressure at all just yet, as there is still that threat coming from Epic if they're going to be a little bit, for Nova bot lane to be a little bit more aggressive with that Rakan knockup. But so far, it has been a little bit quiet, except for the fact, again, top side is going to be a little bit suffering. Mid lane, though, there's a little bit of a gap, but when G4 reaches level 6, it's still going to be a very huge threat if the combo kicks in for Raven, as he still has Ignite, not the defensive spell in his kit.
Yeah, not opting for something like a heal or exhaust like G4 is running, and Raven also has to be careful, because if he gets chunked out really heavily in the lane, that could be an easy all-in from G4. Not going to be able to land the Scour of the Week. Epic going to come on by. Exhaust is going to be taken on down. Raven almost gets taken down himself, but G4 will not be able to secure the kill, as Epic was nearby, but that will force the Lucian to have to back off a little here.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Level 6 Syndra, going to be insanely scary, as this is exactly what happened for Raven. At least he still gets to keep his flash, just in case G4 gets a little bit aggressive, flash forward with the Scatter of the Week. But for Ryan, He's waiting for he's been hanging out at top side, whereas Epic so far is gonna visit his red.
Yeah, red. Does it get taken on over here? Smite battle. Looks like Ryan is willing to concede it. Never mind. Epic just says, all right, you can just take my red buff, as Ryan also putting pressure toward the top side of the map means
Teleport?
Epic can't really do a whole lot here to help out Shinsekai.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Nova has complete control over topside. Epic is unable to do much, considering that that's a level 7 Rocky. You got Epic still level 5. Not a lot of disengage yet with that level 6, and this could possibly be a dive.
Yeah, and a nice job here by Rocky. He also just groups up a big minion wave without Shinsekai really being able to do a whole lot. He wanted to try and freeze and try and save as much farm as he could, but another push comes in, and that's also going to be Rocky's first turret plate, and majority of Nova's 1,300 gold lead primarily on this Callista, and even maybe looking for a dive here. Flash on forward coming out from Rocky. Not enough damage as Shinsekai still has that summoner get himself back to safety. Meanwhile, bot lane though, Quake, he's getting a little bit aggressive himself. The Blade Caller though was able to root them down, so no real engage. Looks like Resurgence were trying to find something pre-level 6.
Yeah, so far so good for RSG bot lane at least. They are able to get priority. No summoner spells has been used. They are pretty much safe. And not only that, they get control over the dragon, which we did mention earlier. Unfortunately though, Nova is able to still exchange it off the map, which is, again, to their win condition. Feed more plates, feed more gold towards Ryan at topside. Shinsekai.
Again, topside. Shinsekai, he's still spamming the Soraki emote because that's really all he can do in this matchup. And what's also scary now is there is going to be a Rift Herald, but meanwhile, bot lane Pop with a beautiful engage, and Quake gets taken on down. That's first blood going on over to Nova, and Shinsekai, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. This dive is just ready and available for the side of Nova. Ryan goes for the suplex, brings back Shinsekai. Sure, you have yourself the twisted advance, but won't last for much long as Rocky is now on the board with his first kill of the game.
And now when we look at all of the lanes of Nova, bot lane is great. They're able to get Quake in as well as topside. Rocky's gold lead is just growing and growing. Plates, gold, and Shinsekai, unfortunately, will be unable to do as much as he's going to be stuck at topside, having to clear most of the waves. As if we combine them together as 5, when they fight over these objectives, they definitely have to eliminate Rocky if they want to increase their chances of success.
Yeah, for Nova, this comp revolves around trying to get Rocky as head as possible so that he can just continue to be a side lane menace and that no one will be able to mess with him at that point. So you want to see Nova continue, put your pedal down, put your foot down onto the pedal, and then be able to just kind of run in this top lane as fast as possible before Shinsekai can really get any items to even contest being in this side lane.
If we look at the composition of RSG, they are definitely capable of removing Rocky right off the bat. They have the Nautilus ult, they have the Crystal Arrow, they have the kick at least to hold Callista down. But I mean, that's a good win though, as Rocky still has no QSS, there is no cleanse to be found whatsoever, and no Crucible just yet. So there is a window of opportunity at least. But for Nova so far though, at least for Rocky's side, still quite ahead. It's the biggest question on execution, at least, to get that down.
And we also mentioned back during Champion Select with Nova, we often see them play via Rocky, but sometimes we won't actually see them actually commit through playing with him. Usually they'll get him out in lane, but then we rarely see them actually say, hey, you know what? Rocky could just win us the game. You see, Ryan has already said, all right, our bot lane is already self-sufficient. I don't have to worry about them. I'm just going to continue putting on pressure when I can. And Epic has been pretty much non-existent in this matchup outside of getting the first dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Having to reach level 6 and unfortunately not seen to utilize that little bit of spike, as every single lane has been very, very tough to gank. Rocky is ahead. You've got G4 who has that Scatter the Weak and still has Flash on. And for Nova, really good disengage as well. So it's been very tough for this Lee Sin pick for Epic.
I see also some good hesitation coming out there from Rocky as, oh no, Raven, he gets caught out, and Rocky gets himself on the board with his second kill of the game, and just like that, you open up almost a 6,000 gold lead on the side of Nova as they're continuing getting pressure here in mid. Arrow's going to go way far north as now Shinsekai is going to get caught out, and you just know what's going to happen. It's another rend. It's another kill for Rocky.
3-0 at the moment for Rocky, and the gold just keeps building with the Bork in hand, and none still from RSG side have items completed. So this is going to be a very tough phase for RSG, and the fact that Nova is also very insanely confident to just stick around RSG's jungle topside for the first 12 minutes of the game.
And this was a matchup that Resurgence actually drafted themselves into because they did have the counter pick available for the top lane, but maybe Shinsekai just isn't comfortable enough going into a Kalista matchup, and now it's costing them as majority of that gold lead is still on Rocky and Ryan, and they're now going to go ahead and take the second turret up in top lane.
And Nova is definitely not waiting. If they're confident, especially on Rocky's side, and we look again, hanging out at top side, and unfortunately Shinsekai just wanted to go to mid just in case they wanted to start a fight, but Nova just first read on what RSG was planning to do and cut them off before anything else happened.
So with that, 7,000 gold in the back pockets of Nova. Second dragon of the game is only just about to spawn in about 10 seconds, and you can see Raven himself has to be careful. Boxer nearby to prevent maybe a dive from coming out, but now we'll see whether or not Resurgence have any answer to the gold lead that Nova have already been able to acquire. Ryan on the forefront with the haymaker, already able to take down the front line, get the kick onto Rocky, but still not enough damage, and Raven goes down low, Ignite ticking. He will be able to survive with just a sliver of health. In the end, it's going to be another member taken down here from Resurgence. Epic is going to try and do what he can. Gets interrupted by the Scour of the Week into the suplex. And Epic's down for the count. G4 picks up his first kill of the game.
Nova, beautiful punish from RSG's attempt to, again, the plan is to eliminate Rocky, assassinate Rocky, and unfortunately, the CC did not chain well. Unfortunately, the crystal arrow did not hit. The kick was amazing though, but the follow-up was not possible because Nova is just very far ahead and Ryan was just very annoying in the front line.
And with that, that's going to be Nova at least picking up their first dragon of the game. So for Resurgence, they were able to delay a soul attempt by one dragon at the very beginning of the game. Other than that though, I don't think Nova really care about soul. They care about Rocky. And where he's going around the map is he's probably sitting on about 2k gold himself, and it's already almost a 10,000 gold lead, 9,000 gold lead. Boxer was looking to set up a possible play, but you can just see that damage that comes out from Rocky, and if you're not able to land that dredge line, it doesn't matter. Shinsekai going to come on over the wall. Rocky gets locked on down, and that's a big shutdown going on over to Epic as Resurgence find their first kill of the game.
And that's what we were talking about, having to eliminate Rocky right off the bat. And the fact that Rocky was insanely aggressive with zero vision in RSG's jungle just really means that Rocky was very confident in taking that fight. RSG, great punish. Now they have control. 10 seconds more or less for Rocky to respond, but I think it's just too late even though he has teleport.
So with that, Resurgence, there you go. You're able to slow down this Kalista. It gives you a little bit of an opening here. So you do see Nova. Don't really care, as they're just going to go ahead and look for their fourth tower of the game, and at least are able to trade back for that Rift Herald going over to Resurgence.
Yeah, good trade, good decision coming from Nova, but Raven extending his push.
Pop already popping the emotes. Raven, he's going to try and go to the alcove, but Pop has guessed where he was the entire time. You have a Hex Splash coming out from Ryan, and the emotes are down. They're just going to beat him up. G4 comes on by, and Raven, he knows what's about to happen. G4 finds himself the second kill on the Syndra. And what little opening Resurgence are able to find for them, Nova are able to put down the door and shut them out.
Yeah, 9k gold lead. I mean, Resurgence definitely happy to be able to at least get that Rift Herald by eliminating Rocky, but that is definitely not enough space for Raven to be a little bit more confident when it comes to, you know, being extended in towards the lane and get a bit of tower hits and farm. And Nova, great at punishing these sorts of decisions.
And there you are, as Raven coming out of base now. As, guess what? You have minions now crashing in onto your base on the side of Resurgence. Sure, he's able to pick up his first item, and the rest of Resurgence are able to find their own items. But then you look at Rocky, and he's already got his Rune Hands, and you also have Golden Feet almost online for his second item, too.
Yeah, for Nova, especially Rocky, one item ahead from the carries of Resurgence, looking at Raven, looking at Quake. So if Nova decides to, or rather if RSG decides to clash on Nova on the different objectives, such as 2 minutes in, maybe the Dragon, they're definitely not prepared, as Nova is just very far ahead.
I think the overall issue that we're starting to see here is like, I think people are going to try and be like, yeah, let's blame Shinsekai on this one. This is a matchup that he's never going to win when he has a Maokai, and Resurgence decided to draft around that. We didn't get to see any effort put into trying to shut down Rocky early on during this game, and he's already come online. You have a 2-item Kalista before 20 minutes. It's a rough hill to climb back.
Yeah, it was definitely the decision of RSG to survive the laning phase and group as 5, see whether or not they're able to punish Rocky if he's extended. But they do have the capability to do so, and just unfortunately they're not able to keep pushing what they did earlier, which is to just lock down Rocky, eliminate him right away, and it's going to be a 4v5. And the most fed member of Nova is not going to be around. And for RSG, they're just going to try to pick up the pieces, trade in for this tower. But unfortunately, that's another inner tower gone for the side of RSG.
You can see it's kind of a power play move coming out from Resurgence. They say, all right, we have Shelly, and they only get 1 tower for it, actually. They didn't really need her. I guess it was just going to time out. Pop is actually able to soak up the wave and prevent that from going over, so Rift Herald isn't necessarily even used to its full ability, and Nova are able to respond pretty easily.
Yeah, not a lot of value off of that Rift Herald, and RSG unable to push as well, as there's not a lot of vision on the blue side jungle of Nova. Quake
speaking
is
of
gonna
no
die.
vision, Quake just gets taken on down. Boxer able to get himself with the hook, but Rocky already finding a 400, 500 health pop off the Rend. That's another 2 kills going in the back pockets of Nova as they look to now try and siege in toward the second tier tower in mid. Pop already setting up a trap too. If Raven comes around the corner, is going to get spotted out, but meanwhile tower shall be taken.
And with that said, you know, full control over the jungle of RSG and as well as the Dragon. And yeah, we did mention vision. Nova was just hanging around and Quake is just farming. That was just a very dark map for RSG.
That replay speaks volumes to how this game was going. You had Ryan doing crunches in the brush, waiting for Quake to just push a little further forward. And if you want to say Nova right now are having a little bit of fun, I think it's fair to say that as they just pick up their second Dragon of the game and continue to solidify a 10,000 gold lead over Resurgence coming in on to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and full Dragon control for full map control as RSG is trying to just trade whenever Nova decides to put more resources at a certain point of the map. And as we can see, RSG actually trying to set up a pick as Raven is sitting in the brush with Epic as well.
We'll see. You also have Epic on that top side of the map, like you mentioned. So we see Resurgence putting a lot of priority to try and control the top section of the map. But you also have to realize every other lane already lost their second tier tower already. Rocky could go into any side lane he wishes and just push for days. So with that, Resurgence have to relieve all control that they did have, except outside of that 1 control ward in the pit at the moment. But you see Nova just looking to set up, see if anyone from Resurgence steps forward.
Yeah, Nova even setting up a little bit of, you know, that party brush, that mini party brush with Rocky and Pop, just in case RSG walks into that death trap. And this hawk shot will spot Nova out as we see members having to really try their best to go near that jungle, their own jungle, but Nova has taken control over it.
So with that, Resurgence now have to kind of rely, do we get another hawk shot, or is Nova taking the Baron at the moment, as they very easily could have just went back over, as, again, you look at the mini-map on the side of Resurgence when it comes to their vision, absolutely none. Nova have every brush in this jungle lit up. You even saw Rocky again trying to sneak this one over. Ryan maybe looking for a flank. You also have Pop, who could easily collapse down the lane if they wish to as well. Resurgence know that this is happening, though, so we might just see a straight-up 5v5 if Resurgence wish to take it. Rocky stepping up forward, has to be careful himself, but still waiting on Quake to pull the trigger with his arrow. And nothing going to come out there as Nova decide to back off.
Yeah, Nova was a little bit hesitant, the same as RSG. Tech Splash even used, but RSG still being very wary as Epic still set up on towards this river brush, hoping to see whether or not he can disrupt the backline, but he's very far away from the Baron.
And again, Rocky and Ryan are trying to sneak the Baron here. This is a little bit of both of these teams having a bit of fun, it would seem. But here we go. Pop in behind. Could look for a big engage if he wishes to. Not going to pull the trigger just yet. Now he goes on over, finding himself 3 members with the knock-up as well. Into the suplex on the back line. Ryan Sepson's up with the haymaker from the face breaker. And there you are. It's going to be another 2 kills over to Nova.
Rocky was not even around because he got rooted by Shinsekai's ult. He was just far away from the fight. And it just means Nova is that far ahead to not require their, member, the highest fed member in the team to be present in that fight.
And there you go. You even have a red buff joining into the Baron pit. You have Shinsekai teleported over. Doesn't really have ultimate. Doesn't have a whole lot to really do here as he gets half chunked by G4 off a single half combo. Raven also getting exhaust. Can Epic actually find himself into the pit? He steals away the Baron. Will they be able to survive is the question, as that's going to be 1 kill going on over to Nova. Raven gets taken down, does take down G4. And it is that big play coming out from Epic off the Baron steal, but still a massive hill to climb.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good win, at least for Epic, to steal away that Baron away from Nova. They're able to at least utilize that, take that away, and slow down Nova at least, as they've been, again, taking control left and right throughout the whole map. And Nova, unfortunately, they only assign G4 in scaring away RSG for this steal. There's not a lot of threat. Ryan even tried to pull him in, but again, this is a slippery lease in. No, you should able to need Pop as well to deny that dive in from Epic.
Yeah, that one you can actually chalk up here on Nova, and that's actually going to be something that they take away from this game, is just sloppy Baron control. They set up all this vision, and then they finally decide, okay, well, we're going to go for the Baron on a 50-50 attempt, which it truly did feel like. Epic even missed his Q, only got into the pit off Ryan. So that's going to be one that they want to clean up here. And it does actually give Resurgence time to come back into this game. Gives them a little bit of a buff to work with. But like we mentioned, it's still almost a over 10,000 gold lead on the side of Nova. Majority of that been put onto this Callista. That Rocky's now rejoining in onto these fights. We'll see whether or not Resurgence are able to make anything else with it. As you see, Ryan already looking for a big flank.
Oh, there he is. He's going in.
Gets kicked off back, but Epic, he can't get himself that far forward, and there comes the second knock-up. It's a second teed-up execution coming out from Nova as the second engage comes off with the Fate's Call, and Rocky gets himself on the board once again. Raven gonna go and do what he can to try and run in through the jungle. Culling, though, it just sets up the haymaker damage, and there you are. Rocky finding himself 2 kills in the fight. 1 member alive. It's Epic as Nova knocking on the door of the base.
Yeah, that's a lot of death timers already for Nova. As we can see from Rocky and as well from Ryan, they're still making their way and even trying to farm still, as it is still at that point of the game where the death timers are a little bit forgiving still, as Nova will be satisfied in just removing the inhibitor in the mid lane.
And there you go, Inhib gets taken on down. Third drag of the game should go over them, as you do have Rocky already starting it off. But let's take another look here as, again, good vision control coming out from Nova sets up this fight.
Yeah, that pink ward, that control ward has been there for quite a while now, and that's quite unfortunate as, again, RSG, supposedly they have a really strong 5v5 as well, but Nova is just far ahead. They have a better setup with Ryan's flank, and everything is just, Nova's just trying to pick up the crumbs.
With little crumbs that Nova leave over toward Resurgence now, as that's going to be 3rd dragon secured by Nova. They are looking at Ocean Soul on the next take. So for Resurgence, that would be that'd be kind of the nail in the coffin, if that's going to be the case, as a Ocean Soul would pretty much allow Nova to always disengage on fights if they wish to. And it kind of puts up this timer here for Resurgence, where early game, we wanted to see that level 6 come out of the bot lane. We wanted to see Epic try and shut down Rocky more. It's just we did not see this pan out, and now we're seeing, you know, good old Raven side pushing onto one of these towers. That's really all he can do.
Yeah, and the fact that Raven as well is not able to air quote bully the lane against G4, which is very difficult once level 6 reaches. And again, this is definitely the result of what happened. It's just spinning out of control as Nova is now knocking them towards RSG's base. Crystal Arrow.
There you go. Engage comes out. Pop is going to get knocked up, but you do see Resurgence. Even with all those knockups connecting, if they're not on the key member of, say, Rocky, G4, or Golden Feet, it's not a fight you want to take. Shinsukai going to pop the ultimate, trying to clear out the wave while they can. Tower goes on down. A nice catch on the Boxer.
Wow.
Epic just gets deleted. Shinsukai onto the back line. Don't matter. Golden Feet finds himself the double kill. Make it a triple kill. And you see what? Golden Feet, he's hunting down. He gets himself the quadra, but the team won't give over the penta as G4 takes it away. Ace comes on through from Nova as they absolutely slaughter Resurgence in under 30 minutes. First tower going to get taken on down. And for Resurgence, not even when they have absolutely nothing to lose do we see them show up here as they're taken down by the TIE Titans of Nova Esports.
And what an explosive finish from Nova. Very confident. They weren't shut down at all. And it just shows how earlier we saw Rocky has been grinning before the match. Well, he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you even saw G4 there. He's like, yeah, I guess
like,
I did steal that penta. And Golden Feet's like, come on, man. I wanted the penta. Why didn't you give me the penta? But as expected, I think is the best way to sum up this game in particular, because once we saw the draft for Nova, game plan, get Rocky ahead, allow Ryan to just make havoc happen on toward the top side of the map, and easy game. That kind of has it. That's kind of how it felt like. We didn't see the components of Resurgence to answer this composition. It just never happened.
Yeah, RSG definitely took the risk with this composition, even though they already saw what's going to happen coming with Rocky on that Callista, and they were just banking on how much strong the pick potential they have with the composition. But unfortunately, we did not see that at all. And as the game progresses, you know, they didn't have any source of magic damage at all. Therefore, itemization will be definitely a little bit more effective with Raven on the Lucian and as well Golden Feet, or rather Quake on towards the Ashe.
Yeah, unfortunately, your magic damage doesn't really come online from a support Nautilus and a Maokai that was down almost 60, 80 CS during the lane phase. Doesn't really pan out all that well, and like we said, for Nova, they're happy. It allows them to, again, stay in the running for 5th and 6th when it comes to the standings for Resurgence. Nothing really changes.
Yeah, I mean, there are currently 7 wins, I suppose. But yeah, let's take a look at this replay where, again, it's that vision control from Nova that enables all these flanks. And Ryan, we're not seeing him anymore on towards the power farming junglers, but a little bit more on that setup on this pick for Nova.
Yeah, and this was kind of just the... This was just a replay of what we saw almost every game, as MVP, though, is going to go ahead on over to Ryan on that set through the jungle. Was able to play very well. I'd say Rocky didn't take over the game as he usually does. More or less, that was more on Ryan helping facilitate him onto other sections of the map.
Yeah, Ryan practically lived at the top side jungle of Resurgence. And unfortunately, Epic wasn't able to fight back. Ryan is able to shut Epic early and take control of the map for the team.
And now it falls back over to Resurgence in particular, where Resurgence really only have themselves 2 more games here in the split, and they would like to try and find at least 1 game, as I don't know, I don't want to say, you know, coach's curse, but Jensen did kind of joke that, hey, we're not doing 0-18 back at like week 1. They're like, 117's the dream. He did that in one of the fan discords in another region. He was like, no, we're not going to do that. Well, very much the 117 record could come around for Resurgence, and unfortunately we just haven't seen them step up like we saw back in spring where they were on the brink of elimination. This time around is an easy, swift victory over to Nova Esports. We're going to go ahead though and take a short break. We'll come back. It's Machi taking on Leah.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
我们是 Marty，
我是打野君门来，
我是中路 Mission，
我是上路 PK，
我是辅助